That's the job I want. You know, send me over to the Judiciary Committee, and their sphincters will tighten because they've.
I bet so, Matt. Odd use of a phrase there. Odd turn of phrase. You know, once you're being investigated for child sex trafficking and also, what is it? Giving drugs to a minor. There's a list. Your rap sheet's pretty high. Yeah, by the way, I don't want Matt Gaetz anywhere near anything to do with the FBI, the CIA, or any government agency. Representative Matt Gaetz on Thursday talked with conservative broadcaster Steve Bannon about a plan to use 4,000 shock troops to take over the jobs of the federal government employees. Bannon has previously said that the so-called shock troops need to be prepared prior to Republican control of the executive branch. People didn't like that Donald Trump raised his voice, but sometimes you've got to raise your voice to raise a ruckus and to raise an army of patriots who love the country and will fight for her, Gaetz said on Bannon's War Room program. We're going to operationalize the performance to go right after the people who are imposing the vaccine mandates, who are enriching themselves, and who are selling out the country. Understand, and by the way, this is like a pretty stark juxtaposition because it kind of really shows you the contrast between like these foolish, incredibly foolish, like, you know, coastal elites who are like, I don't want to get vaxxed because crystals, and the kind of horrifying weaponization of right-wing militias and you know, people who are alleged pedophiles trying to control them. Understand, this is the theory of governing, Bannon agreed. It's a fresh and it's new. This is Trumpism in power. That's when we went to the 4,000 shock troops we have to get ready. That's going to man the government. Get them ready now, right? We're going to hit the beach with the landing teams and the beachhead teams and all that nomenclature they use when President Trump wins in 2024 or before. You're going to have those 4,000 political appointees. No more powder puff derby. This is going to be hardcore accountability at every committee in Congress. What, at gunpoint? Does Congress just convene and then behind every congressman there's someone holding like an AR-15? Just like, you're basically trying to turn, you know, the United States government into Squid Games.
You know, stagecraft is statecraft. People didn't like that Donald Trump raised his voice, but sometimes you got to raise your voice to raise a ruckus and to raise an army of patriots who love this country and will fight for her. And if we get more of them in Congress, then that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to operationalize the performance to go right after the people who are imposing the vaccine mandates, who are enriching themselves, and who are selling out the country.
So for starting with the Joanne Reed, the Chris Hayes, the Rachel Maddow, the brains of the operation over there for the Democratic left, understand this is a theory of governing, right? And it's fresh and it's new. This is Trumpism in power. That's why we went to the 4,000 shock troops we have that's going to man the government and get them ready now, right? We're going to hit the beach. You know, you have the landing teams and the beachhead teams, all that nomenclature they use when President Trump wins again in 2024 or before, right? You're going to have those as the 4,000 political appointees on Capitol Hill. You're going to.
By the way, like, they know what they're doing, and obviously I don't think Steve Bannon's ever someone who wants to be in like the front lines or anything, but he knows that, you know, continuously energizing and angering your base, especially as you're like their base is growing in its fury. I'd say that much, especially because they're kind of combining themselves the same way the Canadian right did, the far right in Canada, with the anti-vax and the anti-mask crowd. And like, look to Europe and Australia too. Holy fuck. The anti-mask and the anti-vax crowd, and the anti-lockdown crowd, they are violent. They are taking to the streets. They are attacking police officers. They are kicking down doors. Like, you know how everyone was joking with RGR because it was just utterly absurd, and she was like, leftists are all calling for violence because every leftist wants to eat the rich, and they say eat the rich, so that means that they're all cannibals and super violent, and that's really yikes. Like, the people who are legitimately not only calling for violence but are enacting violence is fucking these anti-lockdown crews, and you know, the right. I'm thinking they're going to be, you know, engaging in something a little too dangerous. Like it's like January 6th. It's all like, let's see how far we can push it until it happens, and then once it happens, it's kind of like, oh, whoa, you know, like, look at Alex Jones. Look at Alex Jones leading the charge with his megaphone. Well, we're coming, foreign creatures, swamp creatures, and all that kind of stuff. And then the moment they arrive, and he's like, "Holy shit, this is actually popping off! Fuck me! This is Antifa. Don't fall for it, everyone. This is an Antifa plot. Hurry, come on, everyone, get back, get back!" You know.
Going to have Gaetz and others that, and no more Trey Gowdy's, no more Powder Puff Derby. This is going to be hardcore accountability at every committee.
Yes, and we are going to go after this administrative state, and we're going to start at the Department of Justice and the FBI. That's the job I want. You know, send me over to the Judiciary Committee, and their sphincters will tighten because they've...
I bet so, Matt. Odd use of a phrase there. Odd turn of phrase. You know, once you're being investigated for child sex trafficking and also, what is it? Giving drugs to a minor. There's a list. Your rap sheet's pretty high. Yeah, by the way, I don't want Matt Gaetz anywhere near anything to do with the FBI, the CIA, or any government agency that has that kind of, let's say, executive, well, not executive, but authority. I don't want Matt Gaetz near that in any way, shape, or form, okay? He needs to be as far away from any position of power as he can be. I mean, technically, if it turns out to be true, Matt Gaetz just needs to be in a jail cell for the rest of his life.
They've been doing a lot of corrupt things over there. The FBI and the Department of Justice have become the enforcement.
I read an article about anti-vaxxers protesting at children's vaccination clinics in BC. It's fucking disgusting. I kid you not. So anti-vaxxers in Canada are blocking ambulances. They have these huge rallies. They'll go outside of hospitals and they block ambulances trying to bring people in there because they're like, it's not real. You're falling for it. Blah, blah, blah. COVID isn't real. The beds are empty and all this shit. They're going into schools. They're going into hospitals. They're going into fucking malls. A couple days ago at West Edmonton Mall, a bunch of anti-vaxxers went in there and they went to the kids' toy section, terrifying the children, poor kids who were just there like toy shopping for Christmas, screaming like at the top of their lungs, like, you know, I forget what they were saying. It was like, it's a myth, don't believe it, reject the jab or something like that. But again, all of it, shit that is like utterly deplorable, and it doesn't matter to them. Like, they don't care. They are mad and angry enough. They like, you know, the revolution is being done by the fucking anti-mask crowd. And then you've got people like this, like Matt Gaetz and Steve Bannon, and in Canada, it's the PPC. PPC are doing the exact same thing, who are trying to politicize and weaponize this. I mean, Steve Bannon has been doing this for a long time, not specifically to the anti-mask crowd, but just understanding how to utilize online anger and or rage, right? He was doing that from the Gamergate days all the way through to Trump's election. And now they've realized very astutely that it's these anti-maskers, these lockdown measures. If we can associate ourselves directly with this and make this part of our movement and revolution, then we have something. We don't just have the far-right militias. We don't just have the alt-right. We don't just have that anymore. Now, in addition to, we have this very concerned swath of Americans who are tired and sick of it. Chapman's anti-vax boycott officially a failure as people buy freezer loads of ice cream. A boycott of Chapman's ice cream totally backfired on anti-vaxxers. The company is now feeling the love from all across country in November. Wait, they tried to cancel Chapman's ice cream? Really? So the Ontario Ice Cream Company in Markdale announced they'd be giving a $1 raise to all their employees who are fully vaccinated and asked all unvaccinated employees to take a rapid test on the company dime. I mean, that's probably the nicest thing you could do. I mean, I understand the $1 raise is suddenly a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? But like, from a company that's not choosing to fire their workers, but they are asking them to take rapid tests that they are also going to pay for, that's got to be like, you know, that's closer to the benevolent side of corporate decisions. The company was flooded with hateful emails, phone calls, and even regular mail, but then a counter movement started and people buying Chapman's ice cream just to anger those who started the boycott. This is all so ridiculous. Fucking the ice cream wars. Canada has ice cream wars, everybody. It's happening. The ice cream wars are upon us. You know what? I joke about the sugar wars, but I was right. Fuck Alex Jones being always right. I'm always right. I'm leading the sugar wars.
You need a commission like they had back in the night, a church committee to go through the CIA, all the national security apparatus. You would actually do it from Capitol Hill. You would say, hey, we're going to get to the bottom of the national security apparatus. We're going to get, and by the way,
I don't need a new committee. I just need a gavel, Steve.
Right, and you coming from Pensacola in your district. A super patriot. It's not that we're anti-military at all. No. But whatever this has devolved into, we're anti what this is, right? And this has got to stop.
Well, I mean, we are doing this to vindicate the patriotism of the people who wear the uniform.
By the way, it's very, very striking how fast this switch has happened. This turn, like it's happened in real time in like just the past 4 years, where it's the first time that Republicans, and I guess I'm sorry to have to announce this, but a large swath of white Republicans are realizing what state power truly means when it's being done against them. And so suddenly they're like, well, it turns out that the conditions in prisons are deplorable. The January 6 heroes and patriots who are in jail right now, they're telling us that apparently guards beat them. Did you know this? And apparently the quality of food is poor. It is poor. How? I am in utter disbelief that such a thing could ever happen. And now the same thing is happening in relation to the state's power itself. And you just heard them say it out loud. They're willing, and you know, they've chosen their words a little more carefully than what I'm doing here, but they're willing to overthrow positions of authority and then replace them and fix them, and then they say it's because they want to again have them be vindicated. Like, we're not in theory against the CIA or the FBI. We don't, in principle. We'll just say in principle we like these institutions, but they're just working against us because they've been infected by the Democrats. So what we need to do is we need to take them back and then make them work once again for the people by suppressing mostly people of color and then people in South and Central America. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But now they're turning on us and calling us domestic terrorists. So we got to get them working the way they were built to, you know, get them working the old-timey way, the old-fashioned
uniform, and who serve our country in a variety of ways in law enforcement and really throughout our society. And those people feel betrayed by what is going on in this town.
Betrayed. Do y'all feel betrayed? Chat, what about you?
This will come down to who can deliver the lower propensity and mid propensity voters.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we will build a ladder to heaven to deliver you the daily news. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are your most humble of clownish jesters. To our lords, Trevor R. and Alexander Thaler, you have our undying fealty. To our knights of the round table, Nate, that one guy, Hagbird Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariana McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants Are Still Running the World, Coulter Smith, Tom Groh, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Riley and Anna, Omni, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We shall meet you in the tavern, and we raise a drink, and we salute you.